Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Played in a bunch of them. He's played, many times against Northwest already. You've seen him, as a freshman, when Jacob Mazzara was here. And, he's done some good things with us. He's been in the playoff, too, and he understands, all those situations. But
the only thing about our schedule is, most of the teams that we're seeing out in this first week have already played a tournament. This past weekend, they were already playing tournaments. And so it's kind of a little nerve-wracking to go into that first night knowing that we haven't been on the court yet, and they've all played 8 matches already. So that'll be fun.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm going to write that down. You said 17.5 points, right? We'll use that in the team meeting today. It's good to know. I haven't paid much attention to the spread, but I remember that one time we were on College Game Day, I said just keep making go up and up.
It's sobering for sure. You definitely, you hear that news and it's like, okay, this isn't even football anymore. Someone was shot. This is a real life off the field thing that someone's going through.
The pitch swung on and hit. Deep center field. Trout on the run. Aaron Judge, number 50.
Just another number. Wish we could have came away with a win, but it's just another number.
And the next pitch to Albert is hit high and deep to right field. Backing up to the track, looking up, and it's gone! Home run, Albert Pujols, number 694.
Swinging a floater. There's his first big league hit. It's going to score 2. Carroll's on his way to second. He's got a 2-run double, and the Diamondbacks lead at 9-7. Welcome to the big leagues, Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, the Iuka fans going crazy last night. Corbin Carroll brought up from AAA Preston. The home stretch begins. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town, coming to you live today from the Mayo Money Management Studios for the Tuesday show. Did I say my name yet? No. Steve Webster. Mike Kesher. Mike Corson. Coming to you on many venues, including Mike Corson, 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, and where else?
We're on YouTube. And GreatBendPost.com.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So there you go. How you doing, boys? Ready to go here today?
You're taking your life in your hands with me today in the studio. It's been a rough morning.
Well, I'm trying to. Okay, if you're watching on the video or you watch later, see this.
Crash down.
We have bobbleheads and we have things in here. This was something that it's a turkey ref. It's a picture of a turkey next to the.
It was all me. I did it.
There is the turkey head. That. See, this is known as Hesher from now on. You broke my turkey.
It bobbles no more. I was trying to fix the camera, and, kaboom.
Is this what happened all those years when you worked at KSN?
That's why I'm no longer in television, yes. Jeez.
There's a headless turkey here.
We're driving people to the YouTube so they can see this as opposed to listening to it on radio, right?
You bring something tomorrow.
I did it on purpose.
Just leave that out for Halloween. It's creepy.
Well, all right.
They're already selling candy corn.
There's no way that I can be upset with you because you stepped in for weather coverage last night while I was going over the officials' test.
Oh, that's what it was? You never did tell me. But it's fine. I don't mind doing weather.
Okay, good.
Well, now hold on a second before we go much further on that one.
There's the weather radio right there.
I have my own weeks of being on call.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll just do it 365. What the heck?
When's Corson get in on the rotation?
Him and Cole, he's supposed to be following Cole around. Have you guys done one yet?
I have not.
Oh, man. We're going to call out Cole. How come you haven't?
I'm new.
Okay, this is a conversation for another day.
I'm new.
Don't run him off. Don't run him off.
What did you do, put the sirens on your car when it started sprinkling last night?
Yeah, he was driving through yards breaking people's ceramic animals when he was doing it, too.
Bad habits he's got.
Okay, on today's show, Cole Reif, speaking of Cole, is going to be in here. Cole, who votes on the K-Preps high school football poll. That's out. We'll talk about that. And, of course, the Houston Cardinals getting set to take on Heston on Friday night on the road, so that'll be a good discussion. Mike Corson will be talking soccer with Chuy Loera.
We're going to go with Loera.
Loera, golly.
Is this a weekly name change or what?
No, it's an hourly name change. Chuy, I'm sorry. Coach Chuy for the Great Bend Panther soccer. They've got that liberal. That's a pretty good opener, isn't it? On Thursday?
All of our WAC West schools are. So anytime you face one of those, especially in the season opener, it's going to be tough.
And Mike Corson has a surprise for us today.
We had a guest speaker at the JUCO last night, and
you're supposed to say community college, by the way.
Yeah, JUCO is no longer
isn't it
acceptable, isn't it?
The JUCO standings?
We're brought to you by Barton Community College.
It is
exclusively.
College, yes.
So anyway, the speaker there last night was
none other than Jackie Stiles.
I was putting it on Great Bend Post, so Mike was in there this morning and said, well, how do you describe her? And he said legend, so I went with it. So.
Okay. But I heard a better one, but that's a tease. I'll use it later.
Okay, very good. So Mike Corson's going to be talking with Jackie Stiles today. Make sure you ask her about Carrie Jones, okay? Who at one time had this high school scoring record, but...
You might be the only... You might have to answer that. I don't know. I don't know what she knows.
Okay. Well, you throw it out there in a conversational type thing.
The last thing you want with me on live radio is a natural conversation.
All right, so there you go. That's what's on the show today. So let's get to our sports headlines of the day. Sounds the past 24 hours. In fact, this would be a good... Who do you think this is?
Played in a bunch of them. He's played...
Fort Hays State Coach Brown. Can't think of his first name right now. Chris Brown, right?
Chris Brown. Fort Hays State Tigers open the season on Thursday. They'll be taking on Northwest Missouri State in Maryville. Did they just forget the S?
I've always wondered that.
It's Maryville.
Well, they want to be different than the Marysville, Kansas.
So Jordan Welbrock, voice of the Tigers, is going to be on the show tomorrow, so we'll get a preview of Tiger football. But this, man, what a tough opener. Last year, it was a 17 to, what was the score last year? 17 or 15 to 7. Northwest won in Hays, and Fort Hays went on to go 5-6.
I went to that game last year, and Fort Hays State had the worst field position ever starting. They had like 3 drives start within the 2-yard line. It was amazing. The punter for Northwest was very excellent that night.
And the defense kept them in it for that entire game, 15 to 7. Fort Hays goes 5-6 after they had won 8 wins. They had 8 wins in 6 of the previous 8 seasons. That's what Chris Brown has done at Fort Hays State. Now they go back up to Maryville. They won there before. Northwest went on. They won 11 games last year, won a couple games in the playoffs. So, yeah,
well,
there you go.
Hays also plays Missouri Western in game number 2, and they've struggled with Missouri Western. So they very easily could be 0-2 to start the season. Or they could be 2-0.
Okay. We'll talk to Gerard about it next week.
Up.
Well, my turkey's laying over here. Put that broken turkey down there where people can see that. Shelley Duvall, she was the On the Prowl segment yesterday with Mike Corson. They will open play Thursday. They go to Garden City to take on Garden City and Liberal in their opener. And Garden City, they're 0-2. They've already played a couple matches. Liberal's got 5 matches under their belts. They're 3-2 going into that Thursday match. Mike Corson's already said he expects the Lady Panthers. That was Mizunas who said that. He expects the Lady Panthers to unseat Garden City as WAC champion.
Those records are promising. Yeah, Garden City's been tough, so if they're 0-2 and Liberals bouncing around, can't imagine they went somewhere too crazy for the first week.
They played North, Wichita North, Southeast.
Good for Liberals.
Yeah. The Garden City losses came to Hutch and Andale. So,
yeah, that makes more sense then. I think Andale's your state champ.
Yeah.
And Hutch was ranked.
Is there anything Andale doesn't win? Are they a parochial school? Really? I mean...
No, you know what it is, Steve? A good track program.
Wow. I concur.
But it is strength and track.
You know Coach Bowman, don't you? Former track coach at Great Bend High School.
He was actually my PE teacher in grade school. And
he was not a big fan of high school baseball. Said those guys need to be out on the track running instead of shagging fly balls. But that's a track coach, so
I did a feature on him a couple of years ago, and the history that man knows is
pretty good.
Hook up to a machine and get that on paper.
Okay, other sounds of the past 24 hours. Marcus Freeman, head coach of Notre Dame, once he was informed at their press conference yesterday that his team was a 17.5-point underdog to Ohio State Saturday night.
Ooh. That's got to be shocking to hear Notre Dame's not top 3 favored. Aren't they every year?
Well, they're always in the top 5, but they're always underdogs. So I don't know. Vegas doesn't think as much of Notre Dame as the pollsters do.
Money's not very sentimental, I guess.
No. So that's Saturday night. So they going to cover?
I've never heard of that coach. How long has he been at Notre Dame? I'm going to be honest with you.
Sports Illustrated has Ohio State as, I believe, the number one overall. So I might still take Ohio State, but it's not legal yet until.
Oh, we got to wait till Friday, the 1st?
I think so,
or whenever the 1st is. I have no idea. I'm going home.
That was Washington Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz speaking to reporters training camp yesterday, talking about teammate Brian Robinson, who was shot in an attempted carjacking or armed robbery on Sunday. Apparently he's doing better, but as far as when he's going to come back for
they said
Ron
he
Rivera
might play
saying,
this year?
Well, hopefully he can come back. That Carson Wentz says, thankfully, he's still alive after something like that happens. The call on WFAN, Aaron Judge homers to center. That was his 50th of the season. Yankees still lose to the Angels 4-3. Judge said, well, that's just another number. Wish we'd have won.
Do we know what he's on pace for?
63.
Isn't it crazy back when 61 was the number, and anything that got close to that, it was all the rage, and now it's like we can't even talk about it because of the guys who ruined it.
Maybe the Royals should set some money aside and see if they can sign him to a free agent deal in the offseason.
That's all rise.
What have you been drinking this morning, Steve?
Call on KMOX last night. Another, I don't know if that was just another number, 694. So if Albert Pujols ends his career with 699 home runs, don't you come back the next year?
He says he's not, but can you come back for a week?
Why not?
You could, sure.
You know, those April games when it's cold and no one really, comes out.
But nobody's hitting home runs either. He's going to have to play a month. He better just get it this year. Somebody groove him one.
Hopefully that's going to be the case. He's been on fire, but only with a month and a half to go or 6 weeks to go here before the end of the season. And, of course, a call on 98.7, Corbin Carroll, the next Mike Trout.
Called up to the Ika Hustlers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to put Tommy Edmond on waivers, so that hurt a little bit. So, yeah, he's had an unbelievable season.
And you knew this.
Started with the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
And do you know what a sod poodle is? I know the answer to this question. My brother lives in Amarillo. I have a sod poodle T-shirt.
Well, it's a poodle that's sitting in the sod, right?
It's a prairie dog.
Really?
It's another name for a prairie dog. The sod poodle.
You're going to have to get new shirts.
It's a
cool
poodle.
shirt. I wear it proudly. I like it.
There you go. Sounds the past 24 hours or so. Football season getting underway in earnest this week. Friday, Kansas taking on Tennessee Tech. Why do they play on Friday?
It's because it's Kansas High School, isn't it?
All right, all I can do is laugh.
That's a good one.
By the way, the KU game's going to be here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM because Larned and Pratt will be on Hits 106.9, so you can catch the Jayhawks.
A rivalry game between you and I.
K-State takes on South Dakota, 6 o'clock. From Bill Snyder Family Stadium.
Quick drop here. North Dakota is playing at Nebraska. Former Cardinal Wyatt Pettigo be playing in Lincoln.
I wouldn't. We'll talk to Cole Reif in a minute. He's always the guy that's always been responsible for setting the odds for the dumpster out back. Is Nebraska going to be favored in that game?
I don't know enough about North Dakota, but
Nebraska will be favored, yes.
They'll be favored, but
jump all over it.
I don't know if they'll win.
Yeah,
but
the numbers will be posted coming up.
It'll be legal.
Also, the Chiefs today releasing veteran wide receiver Josh Gordon. No surprise. I think they didn't. They just kept him around. Hopefully someone saw him and gave him a break. Chiefs were pretty set at wide receiver. Just such a waste. 1,646 receiving yards in 2013 when he played for the Browns. Since then, he's been suspended by the NFL 6 times, 5 of them for substance abuse. Tough. Yeah. Bad deal. 31 years old. I don't know if he'll be getting another chance.
Probably not. This could have been it.
Yep, probably was. Okay, there you go. Sounds the past 24 hours. Top Sports headlines. Oh, the Royals play tonight, too. 6:30 taking on the White Sox. Because of the fact that KU is on Friday night here on KVGB, there's no Royals baseball. Sorry. That was Hesch's decision, so if anyone wants to call up to the radio station, just talk to Mike Hescher. Okay, good program coming up. We've got Jackie Stiles coming later in the show, talking with Mike Corson. Cole Reif is up next. Also, Chuy Loera.
Coach Chuy.
I can't say it's like saying 6th. Loera. Okay, Chuy's
for the
coming up here.
100th time already, Steve.
I know.
100.
100.
the 100th times. All coming up here on Sports Day.
One of the great advantages about online classes is you can take them anywhere. I would sit in my room, still in my robe from waking up, and I just try to focus on my classes. From Barton, I kind of took a range of classes from accounting, history, and I took PE1 and PE2 through Barton. They transferred pretty incredible. It helped save money, and it helped save some time, too. Just to think that you can live really anywhere and take these classes, I think it's pretty cool.
Summer is quickly turning to fall, and producers who are looking to prevent soil erosion, weed suppression, improve nutrient cycling, and sustain soil health should consider planting cover crops. The Grape & Co-op has a full lineup of fall-seeded cereals, legumes, and brassicas, cover crop species that will fit your cropping needs. You can contact the Grape & Co-op Seed Department on their full lineup of fall-seeded cover crops that will maximize your cover crop needs.
Are you looking for a fun and rewarding full or part-time career? Can you imagine having the evenings, weekends, and summers off? Many Kansas school nutrition programs are seeking individuals who enjoy giving back to their community and helping children build their future. A wide variety of immediate positions are available nearby. Contact your local school district or food service director for more information on current positions available. Don't hesitate. Call today. Brought to you by the Kansas Department of Education and this station.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Ah, the music of Cole Reif in here on Sports Day.
How we doing, sir?
Game week.
It is game week. I mean, we're not even a week left. We're talking about days now.
It's that time of year when I find things like your Heston roster up on the printer in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that in your mailbox?
I did. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I haven't usually, and remember, football is not that bad on the ink cartridge for color ink on the printer. Basketball, beware. That's when usually I absorb most of the ink.
You've got black.
I got black and white. These are my study sheets.
Okay.
Yeah, I save the ink for game days. That's the game day charts. So, yeah, just black and white right now, studying names.
Ready to go.
Yeah, I think so.
Last time you were at Heston, it was what?
Freezing
32
cold.
And the wind was blowing. You had blankets up on the back.
Freezing cold. I had blankets up on. We were at the top of the bleachers, so we set blankets over the, kind of wrapped them around so the wind, when it come in, is coming from our back, so it cut off on the broadcast and through the mic. Frigid cold. Heston jumped out to an early 14-0 lead after the first quarter. Cardinals were kind of on pace, went back and forth with them after that, but couldn't overcome that first quarter. Ended up losing 35-19. State semifinals. Yeah, it was a
Cardinals were
sad closing moment.
Down a man, not only a man, but a big man.
Yeah, Hunter Hansley got hurt a couple weeks prior, so yeah, that was a sad time.
We'll talk about that game coming up and the Cardinals a little bit, but what do you call? Are you called a ranker?
A Polster, maybe?
Okay, yeah, I was wondering.
know.
I think Polster would be.
Yeah, that sounds
We'll
better.
have to ask Mizuna since, he always reminds us he's a Heisman Trophy voter.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm a K-Preps voter. You vote for the Heisman?
Well, let's go down this poll, and I'll just kind of run them down, and then you can comment on maybe changes or that were different than the final one. Okay, and we'll start in 2-1A, or 2A. I want to 2-1A rankings. Southeast of Saline, number 1. Nemaha Central, number 2. Rossville, 3. Beloit, 4. Kingman, 5. Other teams considered: Council Grove, Hoisington, Humboldt, Norton, Osage City, Riley County, Sabetha, Silver Lake, and TMP.
Yeah, I think they nailed it. I think K-Preps as a whole nailed that Class 2A classification. Southeast Saline, obvious favorites. We talked about that last week. Rossville, it's hard to gauge. Rossville, the name brand is going to be good, but losing as much as they did, I could see them even being 4. I could make the argument putting Beloit at number 2 or number 3, but Nemaha Central with the talent and the size that they have coming back, and then Kingman, we talked about how good their defense was. I really felt like Class 2A was really solidified with that top 5.
Benson Burnt, right? Barron, okay.
Barron, yeah.
They need to find some other guys. I mean, the last 2 playoff games last year, he ran for it was like 35 and 40 times a game. Then he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt, didn't even play in the state championship game. And they gave Rossville a pretty good shot. I mean, I think Rossville was in control for the most part, but they gave him a little bit of scare in that first half. And, if you would have thrown Benson Barron into that mix, who knows? But, yeah, I mean, I think him coming back, obviously they're replacing Owen Eilert. Eilert wasn't necessarily a huge playmaker by any means at quarterback, but he's still – you're a signal caller. Yeah. So having to replace that, we'll see who they plug in there. But they had some pretty good depth in the backfield.
Okay, 1A, you have St. Mary's 1, Smith Center 2, Olpe 3, Inman 4, Colgan is 5, and then you have Centralia, Conway Springs, Hutch Trinity, Jeff North, Marion, Mission Valley, Oakley, Sedgwick, Troy, and Wabunzie. I love 1A because a lot of these schools probably could be playing 8-man, but because they've had so much success and tradition, it makes 1A it's like the who's who of former bigger high school powerhouses.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you talk about Smith Center going in at number 2. I mean, Lacrosse hung on for a long, long time in Class 1A, and they had all their tradition now playing 8-man. But, I mean, it was hard to go against Olpe, I thought, initially. But then you kind of saw some of the returning depth that what St. Mary's had. So, yeah, that classification to me goes at least 6-7 deep. I mean, there's probably more, but 6-7 deep that are true contenders, not even in the top 5.
Yeah, I think that's where in one of the classes you see some of the best playoff matchups in the early rounds. Okay, 1A Division 1, Little River, number 1, Wichita County 2, Chase County 3, Clifton Clyde 4, South Sumner.
How about that? South Sumner, that one excites me. I mean, because it's always kind of cool to see the new consolidations and the collaborations with some of these school districts of South Sumner. They started up in the spring, this past spring, with the consolidation. It has Caldwell and South Haven. So you talk about big-time rivals. I mean, it'd be like Great Bend and Hayes, like combining together to form a team or something like that. So, yeah, putting those two together, and anytime you do that, obviously the talent level goes up. So they start out at number 5, and I think that's just kind of out of respect of teams that have already been established. They have the potential to move up.
They've got a pretty good quarterback coming back, I believe, don't they?
Correct.
Yeah, he almost got him a win over Victoria up there last year.
Yeah, but when you talk about any of the 8-man classifications, 8-man 1 or 8-man 2, just loaded. I mean, just absolutely loaded. And a lot of that has to do with, they've had more teams in those classifications in the past. But Little River, I think, still runs away with it. I think they're head and shoulders as far as their talent level.
Lacrosse, Maxville, getting consideration.
Yeah, and I think they showed some consistency last year. I thought Lacrosse came on pretty nicely at the end of the season. They started bouncing back and figuring things out, so they bring back some talents. But and Maxville's kind of unknown to me as far as you saw them. You saw them once last year, right? At least once.
No, I didn't see them. I saw them in basketball. I know they've got a 6'7" quarterback who can run the 400-meter dash pretty good. So.
Yeah, so I mean Maxville gets in there but like I said, I mean it's just a deep classification.
Okay, let's 8-man 2. You have Axtell 1, Canton Galva 3, Thunder Ridge 4, or 3, Lebo 4, Victoria at 5. And let's see, Kinsley's getting some love.
Yeah.
They had one of their best seasons they've had in a while last year, and then Osborne is in there as well. So I just want to check 5A here real quick. And we've got Mill Valley 1, Mays 2, Capon 3, Bishop Carroll 4, Blue Valley Southwest number 5.
Yeah, how about Capon getting up to number 3? I thought that was pretty good for them. I mean, you talk about loaded again, but, I mean, Mill Valley, I would make the case, Mays would have a chance, but Mill Valley is just so darn good. It's hard to go against Mill Valley. So I think that's an easy choice. I thought 5A was pretty solidified, kind of like 2A as well. There wasn't a ton of discrepancy, I think, amongst most of the pollsters. But, we talked about Hayes is going to be really good. So they're receiving votes and at least considered right now. So, Class 5A will be fun.
You always lose one guy, Jerry Canick. So everybody thinks, well, they're going to drop off the mat. Now, Patrick thinks they'll be down a little bit. John Betts thinks they could be just as good as they were last year. So I guess we're going to find out. They play Junction City on Friday night.
Balance, maybe more balanced, if you want to say. I mean, Jaron Canick was phenomenal, but you take him out of the equation. Remember, one note, remember last year, right before the season, they found out Dalton Dreiling wasn't going to play football. Yeah. He was going to concentrate on baseball, and everyone was like, oh, man, you're moving Canick from wide receiver, put him at quarterback, you lose Dreiling at quarterback, Hayes is going to be terrible. I remember talking to Zach Baird of Hoisington, he's like, that's the best thing that ever happened to Hayes. You put a guy like Canick taking the snaps and touching the football every single time. It's like that was secretly, I mean, nothing against Dreiling. I mean, obviously he's a great talent, but, man, I think that made Hayes even better putting Canick at quarterback.
Yeah, and I wonder if he had all those kids from Mays who had a chance to tackle him on that long run last year sign the football.
I mean, it's a nationwide phenomenon. It was the USA Today best play of the entire country. So, yeah, I mean, they're part of history.
Cole Reif with us here on Sports Day today. Okay, Hoisington, Heston, what do you think? I mean, just your thoughts right now on a Tuesday, Cole, going through your prep.
Last week, even like 2 weeks before, just even months before the season started, and you're like, okay, they open up with Heston. It was kind of easy to write off Heston a little bit. You talk about their past and what, Tyson Bowerly's done here as of late. They went 4-5 last year, went 4-5 the year before. They've lost in the first round of the playoffs 3 straight years, haven't had success in the postseason. They're Class 3A. We obviously know how loaded Class 3A is and how tough the playoffs are. But it was kind of easy to write off Heston, especially since Hoisington hasn't played the Swathers in the regular season since 2007. So you're not having to dive too much into the personnel of Heston and just looking at him from the outside. It was pretty easy to kind of write him off. Okay, Heston's kind of dropped off a little bit. Man, I watched their Jamboree tape. I see what they got coming back. Hudson Ferralis, their quarterback, just a junior, threw for over 2,300 yards last year as a sophomore.
He's a prototype, isn't he? He's a tall dude.
And so, I mean, they got one of their main targets back, and Jake Proctor, one of their leading receivers. They got some guys with some speed running the ball when they need to, but it's also a team that, very much similar to how Hoisington saw them in 2016, that can throw the ball. Now, they had Zach Esau, as a senior quarterback that year for Heston. But, man, Ferralis is right up there with him in his ability to throw the ball. Maybe not quite as polished, but he's on his way as a junior. So definitely a team that's not afraid to throw the ball maybe 30 times on Friday night on their home field. So now more and more and seeing what they have come back, and I'm just kind of like, I'm buying into Heston. I'm not saying, Hoisington can't win this game, but I'm buying in. This is going to be, it should be a pretty good matchup for week one. For a lot of people that, a 4-5 Heston team, a Hoisington team that went 8-2 but lost in the second round of the playoffs. There's not a whole lot of juice on this game going in from the outside, but I think it's a big game for Hoisington to see where you're at right from the get-go. As you look at the rest of the schedule, we talked about it's a little bit down this year for Hoisington's schedule, especially when they get into district play. They had that Pratt game coming up, towards the end of the season. But week one at Heston will tell, I think, is going to tell us a lot of where Hoisington stands.
I know Blake's going to be nervous because anytime you take on Heston in anything,
he has butterflies going into every game. I told him if he didn't have butterflies going into the game, that would make me nervous. That's what I told him. I was like, if you don't have butterflies, then that makes me nervous. But luckily, that's never happened, so I feel pretty good about that.
All right. And special teams. What are I know punting.
Hoisington's got a kicker now. We got locked in a freshman, Taylor Morales, is going to be the kicker for Hoisington, and I've been told he's pretty much automatic for PATs. I say that. And then also maybe even a little bit of range on the field goals. So, Taylor Morales, a really talented freshman, could get some playing time defensively as well his freshman year. So he'll be in kicking duties. Gage Britt will be punter. They got their long snapper and holder back, and Chase Steiner and Leighton Haxton. But, I'm excited to see what Hoisington has and the wrinkles they can have with Tony Moore at quarterback. I know Leighton Haxton's still getting plenty of snaps at QB as well, but you throw in Moore, I mean, that's a different dimension at quarterback, so we'll see how they can use him. And they've had some good talent at quarterback. I mean, especially the last 2 years of Mason Haxton with his ability to run, and Wickham was good too last year, but, Moore's a difference maker. I mean, he's a natural running back. So to have that type of player at QB, I'm excited to see what they can do.
Okay, any top matchups you're looking at? I mean, first week scheduled, Junction City and Hayes. Of course, Great Bend plays McPherson. Holcomb and Liberal.
Yeah.
It's just Holcomb hasn't played them. Let's see. Larned and Pratt. I think might be a telling game. I mean, is Larned going to be improved? Pratt, I don't think is going to be as good as they were last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Pratt. I mean, you talk about the second year; they lost some talent. I get that,
but they've got some of the talent they've got are.
That was a brand new. That single wing was a brand new system for them last year, and they came out blazing in week one. So for them to get a second year with Brent Holting in that system, I don't know. It could be even more polished. You might not have the same personnel, but system-wise, that bodes well.
Are you kicking the football on the Ellenwood Eagles?
They have to prove it. they got to prove a lot to me.
I just see the kids that come up and play the little football and then junior high and.
So no, I'm not kicking footballs yet on Ellenwood. I hope for the best, but no, not yet.
Cole, thanks a bunch, and man, have fun Friday night. Here we go again. You get to go to Heston. That'll be and take an attitude, okay? When those Heston fans start turning around. That means the team's doing good, and then when the Cardinals polish them off, announce right at the person that's been turning around the most.
Now, if Morales hooks up with Proctor for like an 80-yard touchdown on the opening play for Heston, it might tone down my call. But, hopefully it's good.
All right.
I appreciate it, and I feel like the opener for Jackie Stiles, when I found out Jackie Stiles was on the same show as me today, I felt really honored, and I feel like I'm like her opener. And now the main act is coming up.
Some of the two bigger concerts ever right there. Cheap Trick and Journey right there.
Reif and Stiles.
All right, Cole Reif here with us on the show. And, hopefully Jackie Stiles will be checking in. She's calling the studio. Mike Corson has been practicing across the hallway. He'll have that interview for you coming up here on the show. Also, we'll be talking Great Bend Panther soccer here on Sports Day.
Hey, you want to hear some good news? Venture Corporation is still hiring for laborers, flaggers, equipment operators, CDL A and B drivers, and mechanics. And if you're ready to make some money, call Leslie at Venture. Thought about getting your CDL? Venture will train the right candidate. Higher starting wages, on-the-job training, excellent benefits, and you get paid for traveling throughout the state. Venture Corporation on South Highway 281 in Great Bend is an equal opportunity employer. Venture Corporation, homegrown, family-owned.
If you've been injured in an accident and need cash now before your case settles, Oasis Financial can help. Last month, Oasis helped over 3,000 people. Why not you? If you have an attorney, call Oasis Financial today at 877-266-9083. It takes just 3 minutes to apply. And once you're approved, get $500 to $100,000 of your settlement in as little as 24 hours with no risk to you. That's right. Get $500 to $100,000 within 1 day. If you lose your case, you don't have to pay Oasis back, ever. So call Oasis today to see if you qualify at 877-266-9083. That's 877-266-9083. Call Oasis today at 877-266-9083. Oasis is currently not providing legal funding in Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, North Dakota, or West Virginia.
Are you tired of looking at the check engine light on the dash in your big rig? Or worse yet, the bumper of the truck in front of you that you can't get around? Dom Truck Repair has the technicians and diagnostic equipment to take care of the poor fuel economy, low power, and get your truck running like you want it to, with engine tuning capabilities for all makes and models. And as always, they offer complete truck and trailer repair from brakes and axles to engines, transmissions, and clutches. Dom Truck Repair, located on Oil Center Road, Gray Bend.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went, and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. That's right, weight loss seminar Sunday, September 25th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Great Bend. Time is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Registration begins at 10:30. Stop smoking seminar starts at 2 p.m. Registration at 1:30.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson here.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great
That's
Bend,
where we are.
95.5 FM, K238CK, Hoisington.
That was the automatic ID, Mike. Okay, once again, Mike Corson.
And today we have a special guest. She's fresh off an appearance at Barton Community College last night. Needs no introduction in Central Kansas, but today I heard a good one. Pete Maravich with a ponytail. Of course, we're talking about
thank you, Mike.
former
Wow.
Claflin great Jackie Stiles. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm always happy to be back in the area because I always get to stay with my family. So it's always good getting my mom's home-cooked meals. You never get tired of that. So.
And came out earlier this year. They made a documentary about you, the Jackie Stiles story. But just in the last week or so, it came out that you were going to be on various other platforms, including Apple TV, Amazon Prime. How hands-on were you with the making of that documentary?
Well, I was pretty shocked when I got an email, and this happened roughly 3 years ago. I got an email from Brent Huff, who is the producer and director of the film, and he was like, can I, do a movie about your life? And I'm like, what? You want to do a movie about my life? And then I'm like, is this guy legit? And so he had sent me some things that he had done. He had done like a 30 for 30, and I was like, very impressed. But then when he came and did his first interview with me, which was actually in Springfield, I was just getting ready to leave Missouri State to take my job at Oklahoma. So it was a crazy time. But we sat down, did our first interview, and I knew right away that my story was in good hands because he knew more about my life than I even knew. And, so I knew that he would do a great job. But, yes, I was very involved in helping him find, just footage and getting him in contact with people that were a part of the documentary. But his hard work, hopefully will pay off and a lot of people will see his work.
And so a lot of people like myself, I never got to see you play, but I heard about the lines outside the door when maybe Moundridge or Little River was going. Looks like some good footage in the trailer. Does it take you back to those big games when you guys were the center of the sports universe?
Oh, absolutely. It was so fun, actually, being a part of the making of the film because I got to, relive so many of those memories. And it actually premiered March 1st, and that was actually when I broke the record a lot of years ago. I won't tell you how many, but, I had not seen it yet. He wanted to surprise me, so I got to see it when the public saw it in Springfield. And, talk about nerve-wracking, to watch your life on the big screen. But like I said, I was blown away by his work, and it was fun reliving those memories. And it was just an incredible moment getting to share it with so many people that made that possible. I mean, you don't accomplish something like that unless you have incredible people surrounding you, and I've been fortunate to have that my whole career.
And we're talking with former Claflin standout NCAA record breaker from Southwest Missouri State at the time. Now looking at Central Plains, what your dad's doing over there, Emily Ryan, you came from Claflin, obviously. Lori Kane from Moundridge, Shaylee Lanning from Sublette. What is it about small-town basketball in Kansas that has led to all that success for arguably the best girls?
Well, I think, success breeds success. So I saw, a lot of success, just even being around my dad's teams and watching them, and watched how our community followed athletics, and then kind of wanted to be a part of that. And, it drives you to work that much harder when the community, such as Claflin, supports you like they do, because you want to make them proud. So that drove me to even be better. And then I think, I ran camps for little girls like Emily Ryan, and, they grow up around that, and, you want to, experience those type of things. And I think it just keeps going. I mean, for Claflin to win 8 straight titles, I mean, I'm so incredibly proud of my dad, because people don't realize how hard he works. And, I just think now potentially it could get easier and easier now with the success and the foundation he's built.
All right, and you're known for basketball, obviously, but you were a state qualifier, state placer in basically everything you did. Still hold the state record for 14 state medals in a career. And until last year, you were the only one in state history to win the 4, the 8, the 16, and the 32. Did you see Stanton County's Chesney Peterson repeat that last year?
I did not, but I actually heard about it because I ran a camp in her hometown, and everybody told me about what she accomplished. And, I'm incredibly proud of what she did, because I do know how difficult that is to run all 4 of those races in one day. So I'm very happy, for her success, and she definitely should be celebrated, that's for sure.
And then everybody knows kind of about your basketball preparation, but what did you do? I mean, did you ever sleep, or how did you be good in the 400 and the 3200?
Well, it was really difficult to qualify in those 4, because in regionals I had to do all 4 of those within an hour and a half. And so, I'd be running a race and they'd be calling me to check in for another race. So that was really difficult. But then at state, I got the whole entire day to run all 4, with all classes being at the state track meet. I had a little more rest in between the events, which helped a lot. But, again, I had tremendous coaches, all through my athletic career, which helped me, accomplish things that I didn't know, were possible. And so I was just, again, very fortunate to have such incredible support.
And then kind of finally here, Title IX was a big topic last year. You were able to come back and hand the 8th state championship trophy to your dad and the Lady Oilers, but you've also been kind of a face of Title IX. How neat is that to really be a part of something as big as Title IX?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's huge. And, I'm so grateful for all of those that, sacrificed for us so we could get the opportunities that we did. And, a lot of those, female athletes before us, it was difficult. It wasn't accepted, and they didn't get, opportunities and the chances, that we have now. And even me, when I was a second grader, I told my second grade teacher I was going to play professional basketball one day. And that was before professional basketball even existed in the U.S., but I just had that vision that basketball is what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be good at. And so now it's so great that the young girls, when they're in second grade, they can actually say, I want to play in the WNBA, and they have that opportunity, thanks to things like, Title IX and helping us get, those equal opportunities.
Jackie, Steve Webster here. Now, see, when I went to high school, our girls, they wore their basketball uniforms for volleyball, and then they would also wear those uniforms when they ran track. That's kind of amazing, isn't it, when you look back on it now?
Yeah, that is, wow. And then, on a different note, but just seeing some of that footage, I was like, Mom, why did you let me go out of the house with my hair, with my bangs standing straight up in the air? And, so I had those, tights underneath my shorts, and I was just like, it was funny reliving that footage. And, that's been a lot of years ago now, but, I can't believe some of the things the stories I've heard that, females had to endure to, be able to, participate and compete. So I'm thankful it continues to change and get better for female athletes.
Okay, so this game I want to ask you about because it's like the Wilt Chamberlain scored over 100 points game because everyone was there. So I want to the state tournament where you played with a broken arm. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah. So I broke my wrist actually my sophomore year in high school, third game of the season. I sat out 4 weeks and with the cast past my elbow, so I couldn't even straighten my arm. So I taught myself how to play left-handed in those 4 weeks. The doctor let me play the second 4 weeks with the cast still on my arm all the way past my elbow. And then, but I had to play fully left-handed for 4 weeks. So I get the cast off right before playoff time, and we're in the semis of the state tournament. I actually had one of the worst performances of my career. I was 4 out of 21, and we only lost by a couple points, and I was just devastated. I was embarrassed. I felt like I let my team down. But really, that was such a critical moment in me and my development because at that moment, I vowed to make 1,000 shots every single day because I wanted to be an even better shooter than before that injury. And, I don't know if I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for that injury, that adversity, and developing that kind of work ethic to overcome it. So I always tell people it's not if you face adversity, it's when you're trying to accomplish something great, and you just have to somehow turn it into a positive.
Jackie Stiles with us, Steve Webster, Mike Corson here on the program. Jackie, how's your health right now? Everything going good?
Everything's going really well. I got diagnosed with a rare form of cancer in 2018, and I've recently been dealing with some pretty severe vision loss, but for the most part, I'm doing great and adjusting to that. So I'm very grateful, to have my health.
Okay. Mike, you got anything else?
That's why she's a legend. Yeah. Stories of hard work. No one works harder.
Jackie, sure appreciate it. And I know talked to a lot of people today. They really enjoyed your presentation last night out at Barton Community College. Stay well, and I guess I've got to say it, go Sooners, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, now I'm really not attached to any team, but now it's, I guess, back to my alma mater, go Bears.
Yep, okay, all right.
So, yeah. But no, hey, thank you guys for getting that word out about the movie. Appreciate it. And I just want, Brent to get his credit for all his hard work and, for all the people that took time to do the interviews and things. So I appreciate you guys.
Okay, so and people can see it on what platforms again?
Well, okay, so basically if they just Google Jackie Stiles story, it'll come up. But it's Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Vimeo, Vudu, I believe like YouTube. I think those you can buy the direct, the digital download right now. Then the DVD will be for sale, I believe September 27th. But all the information also is on my website, JackieStiles.com. But you should find it pretty easily if you just search Jackie Stiles story, and you'll see the links of where you can buy it. So.
And I actually looked it up before I came up. $3.49 to rent it on Prime, and our old friend Clint Kinnaman is in there.
All right, he is. Yeah, and Coach Webb, and you'll see a lot of familiar faces from the area.
Yeah.
So.
Jackie, thanks so much for being with us.
All right, I appreciate it. Yeah. Good luck with everything you got going.
All right.
Thanks, Jackie.
Jackie Stiles with us here on Sports Day. Great job, Mike Corson, and good land on the guest there.
I like it when they make it easy, and she's professional. Everything she does.
Yeah, outstanding. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back. Oh, Mike. Oh, you got to stick around for the next segment. And also, of course, we're going to be talking Great Bend Panther soccer as well here on Sports Day.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
Hello, this is Austin Alford. I'd like to introduce to you today one of the most popular pieces of equipment we have to train core strength, shoulder stability, core stability, and even to improve balance. Come check out the core sticks for yourself at Progressive Physical Therapy Center in Hayes.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
This is Barton Community College Athletic Director Trevor Rolfs. Barton Athletic Department is proud to sponsor Sports Day on KVGB, a show that showcases all of our high school student athletes in Central Kansas. Some whom will continue their educational and athletic future with us here at Barton. We're excited about the fall sports season that is now underway and invite you to attend a game or a match and experience the rich tradition of Cougar athletics. For complete schedules and results, visit bartonsports.com.
Sports Day proudly presents
Hey you! Get off my yard!
a look at what's bugging our grumpy old sports hosts.
You can play too, Mike.
See what's bothering me first.
Mike, you were talking about this morning.
There's a lot of things bothering me. The most is probably breaking Webby's turkey, but
well, there's that too.
I do feel bad. So, okay. This is educational as well. People who do not use passing lanes correctly drive me nuts. Coming in from Hoisington yesterday at the passing lane right there by Kansas Brick and Tile.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one person she gets over like she's supposed to in the right-hand lane. The next person doesn't get over and just bumpers her. So there's like 4 cars behind all these 2 cars, and we can't get by them. I was furious. So this is my educational tip. If you go to Colorado, they do have passing lanes, and they do have pullouts. Use them when you're going up the mountain because you will infuriate Coloradans behind you.
And there's nothing more that I'd like to do than to infuriate Coloradians. Well, thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. And actually, there is a state law that says if there's 4 or 5 cars behind you, you're supposed to pull over. Did you know that?
I was in Colorado Springs last year, and I had to pull out because I don't like driving on those scary roads.
Okay, well, I understand that. But just use the pullouts or use the passing lane.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't have anything. We've got to get to Panther Prowl segment with Mike Corson. Maybe we'll run it again tomorrow. Okay. More Sports Day coming up with Mikey.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Endless Summer Sale, August 26th through September 5th, and get 30% off paints and stains with prices starting at $29.39. That means 30% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And, of course, 30% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Well, welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, back for a second time. We have Great Bend High School varsity soccer coach Chuy Loera. Back for a second time. Knocked the rust off the first time?
Yeah, hey, thanks for the invite again. This is pretty cool. We got audio and video. Makes me feel like I'm really part of something special here, so this is awesome.
A little nerve-wracking the first time for me, so maybe we're back on getting to some smoother territory here.
You did well. You did really well, I thought.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, that's good that you want to improve.
Yeah. And we're going to educate people about soccer on your segment. So before we get into your team, one of the biggest things that maybe people don't understand is the offside rule. So
the offside rule.
So when we're watching on TV, they got the shaded field, and we can see exactly where everybody's feet are. How big is it in a high school game, and what is it?
So you want it to be about 120 to 65. I think is the max that you want to have. Ours is maybe 110-ish. You know, it's around there. So offsides, basically, in a nutshell, offsides is you don't want to be behind the last defender when the pass is made forward. And that just it's to keep everybody from cherry picking. That way, there's not one guy just set up over there in front of the goal, not really part of the action, being sneaky over there, and he gets the ball and cheap goal. So yeah, as long as you are behind the last defender or not beyond the last defender, you can receive it if you're faster than he is and receive it and go get it before he gets there. But when the pass is made, you can't be beyond that last defender.
So it really emphasizes timing and athleticism.
Yes.
And then you have the official that is supposed to be tracking the last defender, and his flag goes up if he sees the offensive guy get behind
Correct.
the defender.
Yeah, if his flag goes up, that means that you were beyond the last defender when that pass was made.
How many times in a game does that affect an offense?
Ooh, I mean, there's some times when you're playing really aggressive and you just want to get forward when you think you've got an advantage, maybe speed-wise, or not necessarily speed of the player, but speed of the play. And sometimes young kids, especially a young forward, they'll kind of jump the gun a little bit and get behind, and it can happen. I mean, it's not uncommon to see it 20 times in a game, but as they get older and more disciplined and they time those runs a little better, hopefully we can keep it down to 5-10.
And we're here with Great Bend High School soccer coach Chuy Loera. Guys, 6-11 last year. Games are actually starting this week. Liberal coming to town Thursday. How have the guys looked in practice 10 days in?
Looking good. I mean, these kids, they put a lot of work in the summer, and for the most part, the guys that we got coming in, they stayed working together. We split them up into age groups of U16 and U14s with their club teams, and so it gave them an opportunity to get more reps, more time, and to travel and see different competition to prepare for this upcoming season. So we feel good about Liberal. They're strong. They've got a really smart coach who's going to have them ready for sure. But based on what these guys have done up to this point, we feel good about our chances of starting the season on 1-0.
And then just doing your season preview for Great Bend Post, Dodge City, was state champions 2 years ago. Last year they were undefeated into the quarterfinals. Finally they lose a bunch of kids?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they've got such a fantastic youth development system over there that they could literally lose 11 seniors and they're going to come back, and there is no rebuild. Those guys stay ready over there, and I admire a lot of what they do over there, and we're just trying to duplicate some of that over here and, stay competitive with what they've got going on and some of the other stronger teams in the state as well.
Have you seen any kids break out this first week of practice that are going to be impact players for you?
Yeah, so Alex Galindo, he's been a player that, this is he's going into his third year, and again, he's coming back and at the level that we expect him to be, and he's easily probably our most experienced player as far as varsity play goes. So we're going to rely on him quite a bit. And then Gustavo, we call him Gus, he's really grown, and Rami on the left side. These guys are really stepping up, buying into what their role requires for them to do. And based on what those guys are going to bring, it's going to really help boost some of the other guys around them as well. And so it's a good nucleus around those three to really amp up our ability to play competitively.
Well, the Great Bend Panthers opening up the season Thursday at home against WACFO Liberal, and then you guys are going to the Titan Classic in Wichita 3 days out of the next 7?
Yeah, so it's a tough tournament. It always has been. But we love it. We get to see teams, especially Wichita teams, that we don't really get to see regular season-wise. So we're going to open up with Wichita North on September 5, which is a Monday. And then on the 6th, we'll play Wichita South. And then, fortunately, we get a few days to train and just focus, and we go back on Saturday, and we'll round it off with Mays Eagles.
It's a big team.
And it's table play, so it's not bracket play. So it all depends on your record plus. And then, of course, if you've got the same record, it'll go down to head-to-head and then goal difference. So it's going to be interesting how that works.
Well, good luck to you and the team. Chuy Loera joining us for a second time this week, and more Sports Day coming up.
I said chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's Interior Design Consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, Luke, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed Assessment. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, that puts a wrap on Tuesday's show. Reminder, no show Thursday. We've got Royals baseball, so Aaron Beck moves forward. He'll be on the show tomorrow. Also, he's bringing with him quarterback Caden Shireman. So we'll talk Panther football tomorrow. Also, we'll talk Fort Hays State Tiger football with Gerard Welbrock a day before the Tigers open their season at Northwest Missouri State. Appreciate Jackie Stiles, Mike Corson, Mike Hesher here, all part of Sports Day on KVGB.